everybody. Welcome to the Hallmark podcast. And we're so excited today because we are here to talk all things television and series. And so this is going to be fun to dive into the best and worst of series that I covered. We covered here on the podcast and maybe other places that I covered in 2025. And I'm not here to do this alone. Sari Cohn is here. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is gonna be
Yeah, how
so
are you
fun.
doing?
Awesome. Amazing. We were just
Yeah.
talking a little bit before we got on here. The Critics' Choice Awards were last night. So
Yeah.
got to see some big winners in television this year get up and accept their awards. So
Hobnobbing with the stars.
it was a fun night. Keep telling you, we gotta get you to LA,
I
Rachel.
know. Well, see, it's one of my goals for this year is I am going to apply again for CCA. I'm going to
Good.
try again because it's been a while. It's been probably 3-4 years since I applied. So that's I don't know when they're going to open it up, but that's that's a goal. But yeah, I know I need to get out there to LA. It's been a long time for that as well,
Yeah.
and I miss all my friends out there. The whole LA scene is not really my scene, but the people are my scene.
Exactly. And LA is kind of like a choose your own adventure
Yeah, you're right.
thing anyway. It's
It's
like
true.
I definitely don't have a scene. But yeah, you get to choose your tribe and
Yeah,
that's really cool.
that's true. That's very, very true. Well, how do you feel in the world of television? I know you do a lot of junkets, a lot of press, for things like how do you feel 2025 has been in the world of television? What do you think?
Fantastic. I think
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think it's been a better year for television than it has for film.
Mm-hmm.
I think we are overwhelmed, excuse me, overwhelmed with content, but not in a bad way. I mean, the downside to that is that there are some good shows that I feel like do get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
Shows that generally might have played better or done well in past years. But there is so much good television
Mm-hmm.
that like I'm having now that we are in the middle of film season technically here. Like
Mm-hmm.
the next 3 months, it's everything is supposed to be film, 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 film. And I still find myself, particularly because I cover a lot of television, but I am st a screening like I've got the season 3 junket for Tell Me Lies coming up this week.
I've never even
And
heard of that. So there's 3 seasons?
Tell Me Lie, it's a fantastic show. But
Uh-huh.
also like the catch up for it is because, like I have to go back and watch season 2 because
Yeah.
I've seen so much in between season 2 and season 3 that my brain, it's hard to absorb all the information, but
Yeah.
there's a
I
lot.
know it's true. It's embarrassment of riches. It's impossible. Like you cannot keep up with even just on the like romantic comedy slash like Hallmark Hallmark friendly shows, even
Yeah.
that alone is overwhelming at times. Just that one
Absolutely.
little genre.
Absolutely. You'd figure like every streamer has I mean, there's one show that everybody is talking about right now, Pluribus,
Hmm.
which the
Which
lead won last night. And I know so much about this show just because of how people are raving about it. Like industry people, showrunners who have their own shows who are talking about how much they love this show. I haven't seen it yet, but
Well,
this is
it's so
like,
frustrating because Apple is normally so good about their screening room. They didn't have Pluribus in there.
oh, really?
Yeah, so we couldn't for a movie show.
Oh,
We
I would contact them. I'm sure they would send it to you if you contact them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it's just so weird because they usually that's one of the nice things about Apple is it's usually just in there.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
have to individually. But did you get to see any of the Stranger Things or cover that at all?
Yes, I did. I did the
Okay.
junket. I did the
What'd you
junket.
think? I've heard mixed things. I only watched about the first, I think, the 3 seasons. So I just couldn't. The like fourth season was so long, and then I just haven't caught up.
Mm. I have
But
a,
have you? So you didn't love the ending?
I have a super unpopular opinion about it. Yeah. I mean,
Oh
I
no, I've
screened.
heard a lot of mixed reviews.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I screened it ahead of time. I did the junket, and everybody, of course, like it's phenomenal. Like this is such a cultural phenomenon. And it is
Hmm.
really cool getting to speak with the people who created it and at the end
Yeah.
of it, because there is so much celebration behind the end of the show. I know that nobody wanted to disappoint. And I think for the most part, like hardcore fans of the show, really, really, most of them really, really loved it and were happy with it. Um, I I had difficulties with it. I
Okay.
felt
Yeah.
like this.
No, I've heard very mixed feelings.
Okay,
So yeah, you're not the only one that
yeah, it was. It felt
I-
to me a little bit like, um, almost. Almost like that season was like they were playing into the phenomenon of it instead of the characters and their evolution and where they were. It was more of like almost this awareness that Stranger Things had become something bigger than what it was. And
yeah.
I don't know, it felt over dramatized to me. It felt I don't know, everybody was grown. There was a different.
Well, I heard that mixed feelings about the ending for 11 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
mean,
too bad.
overall, I think while it was a strong series and a strong ending, it felt very different to me than
Mm,
previous seasons. So, no
okay.
hate for it, no hate for it by any means, but
Yeah.
I don't know what I was expecting.
Not to lean into the negative, but would you say that there a show that you would say it was the worst, the show you disliked the most as far as what something that you watched or covered? Do you think
Gosh,
was the weakest show of 2020?
in
I
2025.
mean, I can tell you
Um,
mine.
I
Definitely, it's and just like that, season three. It was
um,
definitely the worst.
I loved Sex in the City so much that
Yeah.
I had a hard time from the beginning with and just like that. And then they lost
The,
me
the,
with the whole
the,
big situation, and I get
oh,
why they
I
had
mean,
to write
yeah.
them off. But I,
I mean, it became kind of a bizarre sort of like there was a little bit of the what do they call it um the sort of people sort of corral there became kind of a social movement around it because it was so bad. It was like a coping strategy amongst everybody. I do think it is genuinely the worst show to ever get three seasons. There's been worse shows, but I
oh,
don't think there's ever been a show as bad that got three seasons.
wow,
I can't think of one that got three seasons.
that says a lot.
You know,
That
there's
says
been
a
a
lot.
few bad shows that got two seasons, like a Velma or something like that. No, the to get three, oh, it was just
Well, if
what
you
they
go,
did with every character. I mean, Kim Cattrall is a genius for keeping out of this thing because every character was just it was
it's like one of those, it's the jump the shark moment, right? The
yeah
whole thing with the Happy Days and obviously like where Jump the Shark came from. But that show, like they could have left it on a high note when the series ended, and then they went back and did how many movies? Two movies, three movies,
yeah.
something like that. I don't.
The first movie's okay. The second one is an
But
abomination.
but it was still, I mean, it's the fact that they were able to have success with that, I think, is why they remained open to the series, and the fact that like people just did not want that show and those characters to die. Um, but it was of a different time. Like if you go back and you watch Sex in the City now, that's kind of part of the fun is that it didn't age well. There are
I mean,
things.
there's certain elements that didn't age well, but they
Yeah.
overcorrected. That's part of the problem. Is that they took they took the some of the feedback and then went like completely the opposite direction, and so especially with Carrie and Miranda, especially with Miranda,
Really?
and so then they weren't true to the characters. Yeah, like Carrie is a somewhat unlikable character in the original series. That's what makes her interesting. We don't want her to be some kind of woke podcaster. That's not who Carrie Bradshaw is, and so it just it's and what they did to all of the male characters, I mean, is just embarrassing and terrible, and so yeah, it was awful. I mean, I only watched 2 episodes, so but All's Fair, that's also got to be the worst show of the year. I mean,
Oh,
what
God.
on earth? Like people need to stop with Ryan Murphy. Like they just need to say, okay, let's calm down. And then we got season 2.
Yeah, there are people that have some very strong feelings about what Ryan Murphy's been creating recently.
I mean, I haven't watched most of his stuff, like any of the monsters that, yeah, I haven't watched any
Yeah.
of those, but this was very bad. And how he was able to get, I mean, we know why he got Sarah Paulson because they're like best
Yeah.
friends, but like to have Sarah Paulson and Glenn Close and, all these things, like, how do they get all these people on
Ryan
this
Murphy,
show?
he is absolutely known for that. His
Did
his
you do a junket for
ensemble.
this?
No, I
No?
did not.
Okay.
I did not. No. No, I've heard, recently I've
That's bad.
Ryan Murphy, I think there was a time where he couldn't do anything wrong. And now there are definitely, from what I hear, just critics who have been a little bit harsher with what's coming out.
I
I
mean, for a
haven't
while
seen it,
there,
so I
All's
can't
Fair
say.
had a 0% on Rotten. It's now it's at 6%.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
6%. So they found somebody to like it.
Wow. That's still, my
Yeah,
goodness.
it's embarrassing.
Ho, ho, ho! We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
I since I don't watch that much, most of the other stuff I watched was fine, to good, fine to good. Like that was the only bad, truly bad stuff that I watched. But let's see. So my favorite show outside of, I mean, I love All Creatures Great and Small. We've talked about that many times. We recapped that on the podcast. It's starting season 6 for American audiences is starting up this weekend. So I can't wait for people to see. I've already seen the season 6 premiere. I actually watched it in a theater. We had a PBS Utah event. It's such a great show, such good characters, and it was so funny. I was trying to prepare for recap and was reading up on some British reviews and summaries and whatever, because it's already aired there the whole season. And there's this one guy, and he was recapping all of the episodes, and every single one, he's like, "There's not enough time spent with the animals. We need more animals, more animals." And I'm like, "What's wrong with you?" Like, I mean, he's a vet. Like, yes, there's a lot of animals, but like, you need you need human characters for the show. Like, I just don't understand. Okay. So funny. But I love All Creatures Great and Small. I think it's such a good show.
Yeah.
And and then my other favorite from this year was Death by Lightning on Netflix.
I
So
haven't
did
seen
you
that
hear
one.
about this?
No.
Okay. So Death by Lightning, this is it's based on a book, which is a historical nonfiction book about the assassination of President James Garfield. And it's a fascinating story of American history that most people don't know that much about. And you have in this series, you have Michael Shannon playing James Garfield, and you have Matthew McFadden playing Charles Guiteau, the assassin. And so you have two Brits playing Americans, but they're both good, really good. And then you have Nick Offerman playing Chester A. Arthur, who was the vice president, became president. And all three of these characters are fascinating, not only because they're real people who lived, but like James Garfield, it is the most incredible story. He was not planning on like running for president. He didn't have any ambitions, but he was a congressman. They asked him to speak at the Republican convention. He gets up there, he gives the speech, and everybody was so blown away with his speech that they're all like, oh my gosh, he should be president. Like, that's how good this speech was. And they kept doing the rounds and the rounds of the voting. Nobody liked the person that was the candidates who were trying. Grant had just been president, and there'd been sort of scandal, and people were frustrated. And anyway, and then somebody's like, I vote for James Garfield. And he was like, what? And then another, and then another, and then another. He ends up getting the nomination. He's like, calls his wife, and he's like, what's happening? You know, like, I can't believe this. And and so, but he's a very honorable man. He was a minister. He's the only president who was a former minister, ordained minister. Anyway, and so he ends up becoming president, and Charles Guiteau is sitting there when he gives the speech, and he develops this connection with James Garfield, where he believes that they have this bond, even though they never met. But and there were some things that felt like very modern about this from a modern relationship, that you think of people who like develop these connections with like people who were upset about Taylor Swift getting engaged or whatever, you know, and it's just like, you don't know this person, but you feel like you do. And that's basically what happened here with Charles Guiteau. He would like show up every day at the White House and say, I want a position. I've done all this work. And they're like, who are you? Like, why? And so then he became upset. And then that's when he decides that he's going to kill the president. He's obviously deranged, but it's so well done. It's so, and it's just gripping all along the way. Great acting. And then what's also really interesting, so Chester Arthur, he was just like a crony. He was somebody who was like there by the Carmody Hall. So like he was not a very honorable man. He was just a puppet, basically, politician at the time. And that was a big problem. There was all this corruption. And then he sees what happens to James Garfield, and he sees what a good man he was. And he decides, I'm going to change, and I'm going to be the president that James couldn't be. And so he ends up putting into law, he only has one term. He ends up putting into law a bill that basically depletes the spoils system and gets rid of it and challenges it. Even that's what he had been raised up on, and so you see Nick Offerman playing Chester Arthur and him going through this transformation. And so anyway, that's a long explanation, but it's just such a good show, and it's such an incredible part of American history. And I was so excited to learn about it. I read the book that it's based on because I was so fascinated by it.
You read the book after you saw the show?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I love the way you broke it down too. I'm fascinated by
you gotta watch it. The only thing I would caution Hallmarkies listeners, because we have a more conservative listenership, is it is TV mature, and it's unnecessarily so. They really didn't need the language, and they really didn't need, like, they have various characters in houses of ill repute, at different times, and none of that was necessary. So it's kind of annoying, I feel like, when they do that. But I still really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So,
That really does. I'm intrigued.
yeah,
I
it's
should
good.
know about it. That's hard. I'm on the nominating committee for a few different organizations, and you get so much content. As you were describing it, I went, oh yeah,
Death by Lightning.
that was one, but I just, there's only so much time in the
Yeah.
day that you can
The crazy thing too is that he probably, if the doctors had just done nothing, he probably would have been fine. Because after he's shot, and then they do all this stuff, and it's not, they don't have the sanitation, they don't have the, it's during that time, and when that stuff was just being invented. And so if the doctors had, because he didn't die from the gunshot wound, he died from sepsis, from the infection that was caused by the doctors fiddling around in there. So that's also part of it. It's crazy. But anyway, I loved that show. I thought it was so good. But I mean, partly because just the reality is just so fascinating.
It's a limited series, I would imagine.
Yeah, limited series, only 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Hey, this is David from the Piecing It Together podcast, a podcast about movies and the movies that inspire them. For over 4 years, each week, a guest and I take a look at a new movie through the lens of what other movies we think were either an influence or connect in some other way. It's a fun, unique way to discuss films that leads to a great list of other movies to check out that either explore the same themes and ideas or maybe utilize similar filmmaking techniques. Including special episodes in our side series that twist the format, we've done over 200 episodes, so there's bound to be one on a film you've been thinking about and want to dig deeper into. So check us out on all the major podcasting apps and at piecingpod.com.
I wanted to rank the shows that Hallmark produced in 2025. There's actually more than you think. Which is interesting because they have now the Hallmark Plus the regular channel. So here we go. I'm going to give you my rankings for the shows. And I actually don't think any of these are like bad. I think it was like all pretty solid. Like they were all watchable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So number 12, I have Christmas at Sea. It felt a little infomercial-y to me. Like it's fine, but it's great. Hallmark is, and their cruise with the stars. It's just a little cheesy for my taste. Then at number 11, I have Small Town Setup, and this is with Ashley Williams. It's this reality show on Hallmark Plus where they basically the idea is it's the town, but it's like a group. They try to set a person up with that's single, obviously, and they give a couple different options, and then they end up going on a date. And the only thing I didn't like about this was it was a little weird to me. It was a little voyeuristic to have like the whole town like watching in and making comments about like the date and involved in this whole thing. That was a little weird, but it was fine. It was perfectly harmless little dating show. Number 10 is where I have Baked with Love. So this was their first foray into, or they've done a cookie show, but this was a actual like baking show, and it was pretty good. It was pretty fun, but I think the challenges were a little hard for like amateur bakers. I think they either need to go one way, like with Bake Off. A lot of times they have professional bakers with British Bake Off. And so they either need to give them like more time or maybe make the challenges a little bit less hard.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of, I'm presenting this complete disaster to you.
Yeah. I felt bad for a lot of the teams too.
Yeah. Oh, you saw it.
one episode, yeah, I did interviews for it. So it would be like one episode, they would be so far ahead and they would be,
Yeah.
like you amazing, could do no wrong. And then the next challenge, it was like just a complete disaster, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden they're off the show. Like yeah.
It was too hard. It was
Yeah.
too hard. So next time, just make it a little easier if you're
Yeah.
going to do amateurs or have professionals, one or the
But
other.
lovely. I did love the teams and the
Yeah.
interaction with everyone. I
Yeah.
liked it.
It was a good first attempt.
Yeah.
Yeah. To dive in. Okay. Then number 9, I have Celebrations with Lacey. So this was season 2 that she did, where she basically puts on a party for a worthy recipient. It's cute, fun, nothing wrong with it. But yeah, that's just where it landed on my ranking. And then number 9 is, that's number 9. So number 8 is where I have Finding Mr. Christmas season 2. And this might be low for some people because it's fun. I found sort of the festive face-offs to be a little this season. It felt like they were really reaching to find stuff for these men to do during the summer that were Christmassy. And I almost barely even needed the festive face off. I wish that they had been sort of more about acting. And then I was mostly, the reason why it's so low is that I was really irritated that because they advertised that it's a leading role, and that the Hallmark Sex leading man, and then the role they give him was the brother of a character in one of the movies. I thought that's lame. I didn't like that. I mean, I was fine with Craig Winnie. He seems like a sweet guy. But I also was annoyed at the fact that they didn't use any of last season's crop at all this year, which I think is so weird. Like, you think that they would be all over these movies, and they had, the winner had one cameo that I'm aware of in one movie.
Oh, interesting.
So that's why it's so low.
Interesting.
But it's fun enough.
Yeah.
So number 8. Number 7 is where I have Home is Where the Heart Is. And this is Luke McFarlane doing like a home makeover show. Do you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. It was like a solid home improvement, kind of that kind of show.
Totally.
Yeah. So then at number 6, I have Chicken Sisters season 2. I don't understand why they did a season 2, but it was hilarious because, so the first season I was not a fan of because I just felt it was just too mean-spirited for Hallmark and just not what I enjoy. And then, but that was just on Hallmark Plus, right? So then they move it over to Hallmark Channel, and it was hilarious because they completely Hallmarkified it. Like, all of those rough edges that were in season 1 were smoothed over, and it's probably also partly the feedback, but like, everybody's best friends, nobody is fighting anymore in season 2. Literally even the ex-husband Frank Jr., who was like such a villain, is now like the hero of season 2, which is hilarious, and like buddying up with the boyfriend guy. And their friends. It just made me laugh. But I mean, it just shows who I am as a human, because I much prefer season 2 over season 1.
I agree. I agree. I mean, like, they were trying out some new stuff with Hallmark Plus. I feel like that was kind of their beta test.
Yeah.
I really liked the first season. I think you're right as far as like what people expect from Hallmark and kind of the traditional. It wasn't traditional.
Like, this is a downer.
But I liked it, and they gave it room. I mean, just like you would see in a movie. It's got an arc. They gave it room to grow, and what it grew into was something that it, like,
Much
happiness.
better.
Yeah,
Season 2. Yeah.
I love it. I love and Leah Thompson. I got to talk to her both seasons. So I can't say enough nice things about her.
I hope it gets a season 3 just so I can talk to Wendy Malick. That would be a dream come true.
Great. Yeah.
I would love to talk to her. I
Yeah.
mean, not as much for Chicken Sisters, but to talk to her about Emperor's New Groove,
Oh,
you know, because I love that movie so much.
she's an icon. Yeah,
She's
I love everyone.
the coolest pregnant lady in the history of Disney.
Yeah, I'm such a big fan of that show. So
Yeah.
awesome.
Okay, and number 5 is where I have When Calls the Heart, season 12. This was a pretty successful season of When Calls the Heart, I would say, overall, particularly the storyline that they had with little Jack getting diabetes. Because, I mean, When Calls the Heart is not a show that I really go to. It's not like Death by Lightning, where I'm going to it for historical accuracy. Not that you should ever go completely on any show for historical accuracy. It's all an adaptation. But especially When Calls the Heart is very loose. They just like skip over World War One, stuff like that. But but what was cool is that they did decide to actually apply some history in this diabetes storyline, because it was not invented, but discovered by the scientists in Toronto at that time. I think it was like 1920, whatever. And so they were able to work it in, since the show's set in Canada, they were able to work it all into the plot. And so I thought that was really cool and interesting, and I learned something. And so that was my favorite part of the season. And there were a lot of other stuff that I was like, I don't really care that much about this whole thing with them, this new national park, and it was fun to see Rosemary and Bill looking into these missing coins and this theft that had happened years before. That was fun, but overall, a lot of the other subplots I was like, I don't really care that much about. But the diabetes really worked. And they just need to get Nathan and Elizabeth, they just need to get them married. This is ridiculous how long they're stretching this out. I can't wait any longer. But that's where it ended up at 5. Then at 4 is where I have Mistletoe Murders season 2. Really enjoyed this. They basically had 3 mysteries and then continuing on our story for season 1. Sarah Drew's really good. Each of the mysteries was good, and it was entertaining. Yeah. So, and then at 3 is where I have The Way Home season 3.
Okay.
I'm super disappointed that they announced that season 4 would be the last. That makes me very sad. But I really enjoyed this season. Everything with the 70s, I think, really worked well. And they found a way to give Del and Elliot some autonomy, some agency in the story, because up until then, like, everything was happening around them, but they were either unaware or unable to do anything. So their characters were kind of frustrating sometimes to me.
Yeah.
But in this season, they actually, because Elliot went in the pond, because he had a little bit more choice. Same thing with Del. Del's now aware of what's going on. Both of those characters were a lot better. Plus, then we also learned more about their backstory, and especially Del. And we got her, past her. And all of the 70s casting, I think, was so well done. Like, perfect for the perfect young versions of the older actors. I still love 1814. That's still my favorite. I'm really sad about Thomas. I hope that we at least get something of him in season 4. But because I think him and Kat had such good chemistry that it's a shame if that's the end of his story. But anyway, all those things, it was a super fun show to cover and a super fun show to watch.
Yeah.
Did you see season 3?
I didn't make it all the way through to the end of season 3 yet.
Yeah.
I stressed yet. That was one that unfortunately because I had other stuff to cover, I didn't get to actually finish it. But I'm so sad. I also do this thing, like, when a show is ending, I've done this before, where I either will, like, skip the finale, or I'll skip even like the last season, because I just don't want it to end.
You don't want it to end. Yeah.
So I feel like I am kind of in that place with The Way Home of, like, I know, I mean, they the the consistency with it of
Hmm.
high quality storytelling is spot on with this show.
Yeah.
And so I don't have any doubt that season 4 will be the same. So I know it's going to be a good story. I know they're going to give viewers everything they want. But it's going to be hard to say
I know.
goodbye.
I was really surprised because usually when shows get added to Netflix, that's kind of like a second lease for the show. Like that's definitely was true with When Calls the Heart and definitely true with Heartland, is both of those shows got a second bump after they were put on Netflix. And so The Way Home was put on Netflix this summer. So I was expecting actually to have much more seasons. So when they announced this would be the last, that really surprised me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a bummer.
And
But
four seasons is a short run,
yeah, and
especially
I
for
just hope
such a
that
popular show.
I,
Yeah.
I hope that they are able. I mean, at least they knew ahead of time, so they're able to kind of write it
Yeah.
in, and hopefully give a satisfying
Yeah.
answer. But
I think it will. I
I hope
absolutely
so.
think it will. I
Hope
mean,
so.
I don't know how planned it was. Maybe they've only planned it for 4 seasons this whole time. I don't know their why as to stopping now. Um, but yeah, that's a hard one to say goodbye to.
Yeah. Number two is where I have the 12 dates till Christmas. So this was very exciting, something different than that Hallmark hasn't really done very many limited series. They had holidays the year before, but they haven't done limited series very much. And this is based on a book. And I love Mae Whitman so much. She was a great lead. And to be able to get somebody like Jane Seymour, I mean, they had a great cast. Julian Morris, so good. They did the Friends to Lovers so well. I think they did such a good job of obfuscating that he was Endgame as much as you could. Like we knew that he was Endgame, but like they did about as good a job as I think you could do of making the other options, the other dates, and the other things feel like okay, this is a realistic. And at the beginning of the series, he's Callum is his name. He's dating like a whole nother character, and so like I think they did just about as good a job as you could do of obfuscating that, making it fun, making it like you get little details after little details after little details till you're like, oh my gosh, he loves her, and it's very fun. So it might be my uh, favorite thing they actually released all of Christmas season, even more than any of the movies.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was really good. It was really, really,
Okay.
really good. Yeah. The only thing that was like a little bit is like the relationship with her mother. I liked where it ended, but it was a little much sometimes. She was a little grating to me and it was a little much. Um, but that would be my only real critique of it, so then number one is Providence Falls. I absolutely loved all three of these movies, the series. I loved the story, the idea, the yearning that he had for her, and he just watching her with this other person, and no matter the era, he was in love with her, and like he couldn't touch her or there would be an electric shock. Like that was such a smart thing to make his attraction palpable, like an actual I loved the writing. I loved the the only thing that I would have changed is I wish that they had made Evan Roderick's character like a more believable option. Like he kept saying, "Oh, she's supposed to be with him, not with me." But you never really bought it. Like there was never really any chemistry between them. There was never any really like I think they could have done a little bit better job of making it like a true love triangle. But I didn't care. It was so good. It was such a good show. I wish it was like an actual show because I think there's so many like since they're detectives, there's so many cases that they could have gone on that would have ties to the 1800s, that oh the clues and then as you're watching you could have gotten more and more and more of their history and their thing. And I just think that there was a lot of potential. They could have made a full series, not just the three movies, but I loved it so much.
I totally agree. I love that show. It's not a bad problem to have when you're like, the only thing that I'm complaining about is that there's not more of it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, exactly.
that's that's the only downfall of that show, that we didn't get more.
Yeah,
It's phenomenal. Yeah,
it
I
was
think
so good.
we've talked about it before. I think it is an incredible show. I totally agree
Mhm.
with you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm really excited because Lachlan Quarmby is going to be on Hallmark's new show, 1874. So that's going to be fun. This is a prequel to When Calls the Heart.
Okay.
Yeah, it's set in 1874. And it has Ben Ayers and Bethany Joy Lenz, who I like them both quite a bit. But the fact that he's going to be in it is like, oh, that's going to be so good. I'm so excited. So that is my ranking of the Hallmark television shows of 2025. Just a repeat, I have Christmas at Sea at 12, Small Town Setup at 11, Baked with Love at 10, Celebrations with Lacey at 9, Finding Mr. Christmas Season 2 at 8, Home is Where the Heart is at 7, Chicken Sisters at 6, When Calls the Heart Season 12 at 5, Mistletoe Murders at 4, Way Home Season 3 at 3, and 12 Dates Till Christmas at 2, and Providence Falls at 1.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hearty, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
Then the last thing to talk about is just, so we had Heartland season 19, and that was a very good season of Heartland. We've got the growing relationship between Nathan and Amy, and that's good. They have a really hard time on that show knowing what to do with Lou, which is the other sister, but I do think they tried to give her some decent plot line, some emotion, some things this season. A lot of times they were kind of stuck in business, and they did some this season, but it was better than other seasons. So that was good. And it was nice. You got to see Georgie back this season. There was a nice plot line for Jack where he's losing his hearing, and he's in denial about wanting a hearing aid. And then something happens where Lindy, who's his great granddaughter, is up on a roof and is calling out, and he doesn't hear it. And so then he realizes that, okay, for safety, I need to deal with this. So that was a good plot for Jack. It was the first season without Tim as a character, I was nervous about how that was going to go because he's Amy and Lou's dad. And but I think they did a good job with that. I mean, I hope he's not gone forever, but it was fine. So it was a good season of Heartland, and they ended it with a big moment for Amy and Nathan, so that was fun. Then so they had a new season of Futurama that was really good. This is a show that it just seems like no matter where you put it, it's had like 4 different networks over the years. It just doesn't matter. It's just a good show.
Totally. Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. I watched the first 2 episodes of Alien Earth, and I thought it was very solid, enjoyable. I liked it. Ripple. This is a new show that was actually it was developed for Hallmark, but then I guess it ended up going to Netflix. And it's about these 4 different strangers and how their lives end up intertwining together. And I haven't finished it yet, but it was like solid. It was decent.
I
Yeah.
love stories like that. I love stories like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think and then Miss Austen. So this was on Masterpiece. We covered it on the podcast, and I really wanted to love this show. It's about Jane Austen, and it's told from the perspective of her sister Cassandra. And her sister is the one who basically like destroyed almost all of Jane's letters, which, if we had those now, how much we would love. But she felt like they were uh I don't know, too personal. She didn't want posterity to have the letters, which is a bummer. But the problem is that I think we want Jane Austen because we love her and she's so amazing. Of course, we want her to have this like exciting life. She really didn't have that exciting of a life, Like she was a writer, and her father was a pastor, I believe. Anyways, it's just a very simple life. Like she never had like grand love affairs or all those things, and so it's kind of boring. The show is kind of boring. They're doing a season 2 though, so I must have done well.
You could never have too much Jane Austen. I mean, it's
Yeah, I guess so. It was all very well acted, very well done. They always do a great job with Masterpiece, and any kind of thing like that.
Mhm.
It was just a little boring, in my opinion. But I kind of think that, okay, maybe they should have like just made it a little more exciting. You don't need to be totally true. Like you can add some fiction in there. It's okay. We're fine.
I don't know. This with Jane Austen, it's like fans. You have to
It's
answer to the
okay.
fans.
But how are you feeling going into Bridgerton season 4? It's coming up in just a couple weeks.
To be honest, Bridgerton lost me a long time ago.
Oh, a long time
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
Okay.
I kind of I fell off that train, so
Okay.
I can't
Well,
really
season
say,
3
yeah.
was so disappointing. I was so excited, and I knew going into it, I was like, I'm setting myself up for failure. I know it. I'm like hyping it too much, but I just love the casting so much, and I love Nicola so much, and I just thought, how can they mess this up? They have such good chemistry. The first part of season 3 was really good. There were concerns, but still it was quite good. And then the second part, it was
Yeah.
so bad. It was so like I sit there and I just think, how could they possibly think this is what their fans wanted? And they have the book right there. It's not like they don't have, something to tell them what to do. They've got the book.
I feel like that show is very hit or miss. You have a lot of very dedicated fans, people who
But
are
I just don't understand how any human being could think that the Bridgerton fandom wants to have Colin sitting on, like, moping on his wedding day and then sitting there and on the sofa instead of with his wife for 3 episodes. He's on the couch. Like, how could they possibly think that that's what people wanted? And the only reason they did it, I'm convinced, is they wanted Penelope to have this girl boss moment in front of the tone in the finale where where she like stands up to everybody and she says her truth and all that. But the thing is that's also in the book, but her and Colin do it together because they love each other. And he's mad at her for lying and for what she does in the book, but he says, I still love you regardless. And that is so romantic and so much more like than sleeping on the sofa. Like, what? And I was just like, I just don't understand how they could have possibly thought that that was a good, like, did they know their audience at all? And it's not like Game of Thrones where they didn't have the book, like Game of Thrones, they had to figure it out, because they don't have the book. They have the book.
I mean,
Like,
they've
what?
been doing little tweaks though in previous seasons. So I think that's kind of their thing is like it is like this, but it's not like this.
I
And that
mean,
does have
yes.
the potential to lose people, hi
It's
like
just
it does. Yeah.
I just don't understand how anybody could think that that was what this fan base wanted. You know, it's like we've gotten so clueless to what is satisfying romance, what romance viewers want, that we get this frustrating versions packaged like they're going to be the romance that we want, and then they never are, almost never. And so that's so frustrating. But I'm still going to give them another chance for season 4. And so season 4, Benedict's story is, I think, probably the hardest book to adapt. So each one of the Bridgerton books is a different romantic trope, right? So like the first one is basically like fake dating. And then the second one is enemies to lovers. And then the third one, which they skipped over, the third one is now they're now doing is Benedict's book, and that is Cinderella. It's basically like a royal story. And and I think that's going to be tricky to do, because just like, and having it feel like it's still Bridgerton, not Cinderella. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I like the cast. I do still think that if you were going to make one of the Bridgertons a queer love story, it should have been Benedict's story. Because I think that was a mistake. Because I just feel like it's the most natural, even though I like Sophie as a character from the book. I think it's the most natural to make a Cinderella type narrative a queer love story. Like that fits the best, I think. But nevertheless, and I'm so sad. I'm so sad about Francesca and Michael, that they turned into Michaela, because I love Michael as a character. He's such a good character, and it's just not like you can't do the same thing with a male and female. Like, in I don't know, just frustrating. But and because I love Francesca's book so much. But anyway, sorry, but but Benedict's it looked pretty good. The trailer looked pretty good. I'm curious what they're going to do with Penelope, because now she's announced to the tone, and in the trailer they have her speaking for the queen, and they're like, no, say it like Whistledown. And so she changes and she says like Whistledown. I mean, I don't even know if Julie Andrews is even going to do the narration anymore.
Oh, wow.
I mean, because now they know the reveal of who Whistledown is. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay. Anyway, so that's just my feelings about. I'm hopeful they can redeem themselves after a major, like epic fail of season 3. How that they messed it up so badly, I'll never understand. But can they redeem themselves? That's the big question with season 4.
Well, the fact that you're going to give it another chance tells me.
The fact I'm giving it another chance shows how completely romance starved I am for this kind of material outside of Hallmark. There's
You
just
need
so
to be
little.
writing the stuff. I will tell you over and over and over again. I think you need to be writing the stuff. I think you need to be creating the shows that we are talking about.
I'm working on it. I was actually just talking to somebody today about trying to progress some of these things that I hope to do. But that's very nice. I know. Wow. I definitely I would not screw it up as bad as they screwed up season 3. I feel confident about that. I can tell you that right now. So anyway, it's just frustrating when I feel like the showrunners just don't even understand their fans, like, at all. I don't know anybody who likes season 3 part 2. Like, there's a few people We're like, it was okay. Like,
I can't say, like I said, they lost me a while ago. So on
you
that
were
one,
smart.
um,
You were smart to abandon it long ago. But there we go. That is television. I mean, do you have any other shows you want to talk about or
I mean,
cover?
so many. Look, there's the Copenhagen Test. That's a new one that's
That
out.
just premiered. I did watch the
Simu
yeah.
Liu, fantastic show. The Hunting Party season
Oh yeah, I
two
heard that was good.
is about to come out. And I got to talk to Eric McCormick and his son. Um, they'll be in the premiere episode. Um, what else? Let's see. I mean, there's lots of good stuff that's out right now. The Pit is coming back. Season two is about to premiere. Obviously, such a beloved show. It took home a lot of awards last night. The Studio can do no wrong. Also, Ike Barinholtz one was among the winners last night.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I mean, television, I think we are in the golden age of television. I mean, there's a lot. I can't, like I said, I can't even get to Pluribus because which is, I really, really want to watch it because I am inundated with so much TV. I think Black Rabbit was an excellent show. Um, and I'm hoping, even though it was a limited series, I am hoping that they will come back for a second season, maybe with a focus on Troy Kotzer's character. Um, let's see what else I can throw out there. I mean, it's good. I mean, I'm loving. I found my issue with voting for these things was like I would. There's so much to choose from. Like I would go through the list. You've got Landman with an incredible ensemble.
Yeah.
Um, and then on the other end, you've got, in the comedy world, there's DMV, which is a show that I just started watching that's like absolutely hilarious. The Paper I thought was very good. Also similar, like if fans like The Office, even though the creators like to keep it separate, it's not like The Office.
Mm.
It's not like a reboot of The Office, but I guess it's in the spirit of The Office. I thought that was excellent. I got really into I Love LA, which is kind of really if you live in LA or have been to LA or
Uh-huh.
there's something about that show that my boyfriend and I watch it all the time, thoroughly enjoy. We were just saying, we're like, what is going on with Love is Blind and all the dating shows? Like, there's a lack of that right now, of
Uh-huh.
just like, I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, when is the next season of Love Island coming on? Um,
Well, they're filming the new season of The Bachelorette here in
oh,
Utah.
really? I did
Yeah,
not know they were
they
filming it.
are. It's
Wow.
got one of the secret wives of Mormon.
Oh, yes, Frankie. Yeah.
Yeah. But,
Frankie Taylor Paul. Totally.
so she's
I
not a
guess
wife anymore, evidently.
that makes sense. Which is also like go Frankie, because if you've seen Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, you like that girl deserves some happiness when it comes to romance. Maybe you could
I've
write her
got
story, Rachel.
a
Write a
I've got
movie.
enough real Mormon wives in my life. I don't need one. I live here.
Oh my gosh.
No, I haven't seen that. I don't watch that much reality television.
It's,
I just know I just happen to have heard that it was that
that's
it's
so,
being
yeah.
filmed here.
My guilty pleasure, although I guess I'm not so guilty anymore these days. But look, I could go on and on and on about
Yeah,
TV. Like I have seen probably more than most at this point, and it spans the
yeah.
spectrum.
Do you feel
It,
like there is a brand that does more of those junkets and things like that you end up covering more? Is it like
um like a studio that I work with more,
yeah,
or
yeah.
like
Does Netflix do the most or
I do. I
Apple or
love working with Netflix. Adolescence was another one that did really well last night. I do love. I certainly, being in this, we get to work with. I feel really happy to get to work with a lot of really awesome people and really fortunate to get to anybody that wants to share their stories. I get to be on the receiving end of that.
I would just get into trouble because they would be like, "Whoa, you really didn't like Bridgerton season 3?" Be like, sorry, I can't. Also, that it's that I think that you do have to try to remember like the humanity that and appreciate the people working on it, and that doesn't mean that I think I'm not going to patronize them. I'm not going to say that I liked it if I didn't like it, but just to try to be like, I bet that was a lot of work in that scene, or that element was interesting or whatever. And usually you can tell if I really didn't like it if I'm asking about like a lot about the shoot. Like,
you just gave your tell away.
How was the weather? What was it like?
What
was it like making it? Was it fun to make it?
Right. You have a fun BTS story you can share with me.
Yeah. But anyway, you try to do the best that you can, but it's interesting because it wasn't that long ago that a critic would never be expected. In fact, would be kind of secluded from ever like really interacting with the talent or covering any kind of like there were critics and there were entertainment reporters, and that was like a completely different thing because it was seen as a conflict of interest. Like you can't have the critic be reviewing the film and then also be interviewing. But now you and me and so many other people, it's combined, and we're expected to do both. And it can be hard. It can be tricky, but I feel like you and we've found a pretty good middle ground.
Well,
trying as best I can.
It's at the end of the day, it's a love of art. I mean, I respect storytellers. We are storytellers. We are part of this machine that works together. It's a very symbiotic relationship. But I think it's a beautiful thing. I mean, it's
and that's why I always say, I'm like, they made a movie. I made 0 movies.
Yeah. So what they create is
did something. I made 0.
Well, not for long. I'm still convinced it's going to be like, well.
So there we go. That's I think I hope you all have enjoyed this. I know it's a little bit more casual than maybe some of our other episodes, but it's a lot of fun. Let us know what you think. What would be your ranking of the 12 Hallmark 2025 shows? Put those in. I'll list all 12 of those in the description, so then you can put it in your comments. Or if you want to do your own content involving it, then that would be fun. We'd love to see that. And it's always a delight, Sari, to talk to you anytime, any day. I'm so grateful for your friendship. It means a lot to me. And so thank you so much. And how do people follow you, everything that you're doing?
Well, you head to my Instagram at The Savvy Scribbler, or find me on TikTok at Sari Tales.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also a KSL movie show right now. I would really appreciate any support thrown that way. I would be very grateful. And you can follow Hallmarkies Podcast all over social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That really helps us a lot. And if you are watching it on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And we've got lots of television coverage coming. We've got When Calls the Heart, season 13, starting this week. We have All Creatures Great and Small starting next week. We have Bridgerton coming up at the end of the month, and that's going to be fun. Even if it sucks, it'll be fun to cover. And so we got that. And yeah, so lots of fun stuff. Way Home coming up. I think that's in April. So there's lots of television coverage that will be happening here on Hallmarkies Podcast. So definitely make sure to follow that. And we have our Patreon group, which is the biggest way you can support everything we're doing. And we just had the showrunner, creator, writer we just had the showrunner of Mistletoe Murders as our guest, Ken Kapuris. For the patrons, we've got to ask him tons of questions. He spent over an hour with us. So that's kind of cool experiences that you can have if you are a patron. So I really try to make it worth the investment. Check that out. And then we have our merch store. We have tons of fun designs, Hallmark inspired, movie inspired, theater inspired, all that fun stuff. Check it out. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.